there, this is Danielle Dunlop with Possum Stamps, and today I will be creating a card with the new Santa Express stamp set. It's one of my favorites of this new release. And instead of Copic coloring, I will be watercoloring today. So I have a piece of watercolor cardstock, and I'm going to be working on the smooth side because I like it better than the more textured side. So I'm stamping my image here, which is so super cute, with the black Versamark ink. Versa Fine ink. And it's a quite wet ink, and it works great with embossing powder. So I'm using it here with some clear embossing powder, which I always prefer over using black embossing powder because it gets way less messy. And I like to use embossing powder when I do watercoloring because I mess up easily. I'm not good at sticking within the lines, and it can get messy with watercoloring. So I prefer to use some embossing powder, some heat embossing. So I'm heating up my image here, and you see how beautiful, crisp, and clear that is. And I will be watercoloring with the Tim Holtz Distress watercolor pencils. I have mine reorganized, but I'm showing you the backs here, how they actually come. So when you do buy these tins, you actually get a nice range of the rainbow colors, all kinds of colors represented in each tin. I just prefer to have mine more combined. So in the first tin, I have the pinks, reds, orange, yellows. And then the next one, I have greens and blues, and some more blue and purple, brown, gray, and black in the third tin. It just works better for me. Now, by any means, I'm not a watercolor artist. I just find it very relaxing and a nice change compared to Copic coloring, because I don't have to stress so much about creating shadows. Because again, I'm no watercoloring artist, and it's just something I like to do to relax and when I'm crafting. So I highly recommend, before you add in your colors, to wet your cardstock first. So the areas you're going to color, you just wet them with your wet brush. And with these pencils, it's super easy to just pick up a little bit of pigment with your brush, with a wet brush from the pencil. And I've been doing this for quite a while now, and I think these pencils are going to last me a lifetime. Also, I like to work on my glass mat. So I spray water on my glass mat when I'm done with a color, and I just wipe it up with my flour sack cloth that I have in my lap. So nothing messy at all. So first you saw me using the reds, all the parts that I want to have a red color. And now I'm adding a couple items of Selfish Patina, which is my very, very favorite color. It already is with the Distress inks and the Distress oxides. But also with the watercolor is one of my favorites. Next, I'm going in with the Rustic Wilderness. And like here, this was a good example where it was a little too dark for my liking. So you just wet your brush a little bit, and you can take some pigment out, and it gets a little lighter. So it's very forgiving, I find. But also it doesn't have to be perfect. I like it with watercolor if it's a little bit imperfect, actually. Now it's probably a good time to apologize for all the noises I have in the background. It's nighttime, and the tree frogs are doing their thing. It's like an orchestra. I just didn't have any time to do my voiceover for the video during daytime this week. So we have the tree frogs with us, and my neighbors are a little noisy. I hear them talking and laughing a lot. I'm not sure if it's going to show in the video. Also, my neighboring dog is quite noisy. For now, she's quiet, but then you also hear my dog reacting to it. So I added some yellow areas, and now I'm going to use hickory smoke. It's the only gray color for the watercolors, but when you add more water, you can make it lighter. For the smoke here coming out of the train, I went in a little darker. And then I'm also going to do Santa's beard, his mustache, his glasses, and his eyebrows. And I used a lot more water for those areas so that it's just a teeny tiny hint of gray. I'm also going to do the windows of the train with the lightest possible hint of gray. And with those areas, it's just that it doesn't stay white. I just wanted to have a hint of color. And I thought gray would be the best option. Now I'm also going to use some black soot, and you can make it quite black, which I'm doing here at the bottom of that train. I want it to be quite dark. But when you add a lot of water, you can make it all kinds of shades of gray as well. So I feel like with these colors that are available for watercoloring, you can easily make all kinds of different shades of each color. So I think Tim Holtz did a good selection of what is available in these 3 tins. But if you just would like to try it out first, if this is for you, you're good with just one of the 3 tins, buying one first, and you get a nice rainbow of colors. And I have to say, I've tried many watercolor products on the market, and this is the first time I'm actually happy with watercoloring. And I'm not sure why it is, but I'm actually watercoloring more lately since I have these watercolor pencils. So if you always felt like watercoloring is not for you, maybe you want to give these a try. I'm using vintage photo here for the arms of the snowman, and there's some reindeer. No, it's not ears, but I'm not sure what it's called. But they're on the front there with the wreath. I used tattered rose for the skin of Santa, and I didn't want the snowman to be white either, so I'm using tumbled glass, which is the lightest blue, just to give it a little hint of color. Now for the train, I'm going to use seedless preserves. I wanted, a purple is a quite odd color for me to use, but I wanted an odd color. Because usually you would go maybe for a gray or brown to color the train, but I want it to be super colorful and festive. So I'm starting here with the seedless preserves, and I'm using it quite dark on this part of the train. And then right up here, I use it with a lot of water, and you can see that it's quite a different color than the bottom part of the train. Later on, I'm actually going over this lighter part with Villainous Potion, because I like that better. But it's a good example here to show how you can create different shades with just one watercolor pencil. So now I'm using Villainous Potion, and you can also easily mix and match these colors, because as you can see, I left that seedless preserves there on my glass mat. So also by mixing and matching these, you can create another color again. So here the bottom part of the train I did with Villainous Potion, and then I'm going over here, since the first layer was super light with seedless preserves, I can easily go over with the darker Villainous Potion, and you won't see anything of the previous color. Now that my watercoloring is done, I'm going to use this stencil by Possum Stamps, and it's called Peace, Love, and Joy. So what I wanted to do here is use the stencil around my image, but as you can see, I'm going in very carefully because I don't want that stencil to go all the way to my image, so that there's a bit of a white halo around the image. I use Distress ink, Picked Raspberry, one of my favorite, along with Abandoned Coral for Christmas colors. So I'm going all the way around here quite carefully to not cover up the whole paper. But then I felt like I was missing something, so without inking up my brush again and just using the leftover ink in my brush, I'm going all the way around and ink that up, and I think that looks much better. So you have a little bit of an ink blend, and then the stencil, the words of the stencil are peeking through. The sentiment is from the same stamp set, All Aboard the Santa Express, and I didn't want to stamp it all in one piece, so I'm masking up part of the sentiment, and I'm first going to stamp the last part, the Santa Express. So I just put some tape over the part that I don't want stamped while I'm inking up my stamp. And then I'll do the top part. It's off my screen right here, but I have some tape on that last part of the sentiment here. And I find it easier, or actually a fun way to use your sentiment stamps a little different. Now, what is a Christmas card without glitter? So I'm going in here for all the white areas, like Santa's hat and the snowman hat. I never know really what to do. I mean, you can color them with some light grays, but for Christmas cards, I actually like it better to use some glitter on it. And then I decided to just go to town and add a lot of glitter details. You know, it just makes my Christmas cards a little happier and festive, I think. So after doing all these little details, I thought that smoke coming off that train was quite a big area of just light gray. So finally at the end, once I have all my glitter details, I'm going to add some swirls of glitter in that smoke part too. So it's not just a big area of gray in there. So now I'm going to glue my card front to my card base, and there's nothing spectacular about this, but what I wanted to show you is what sometimes happens to me since I manually cut all my card fronts and card bases. Sometimes it happens that it doesn't exactly fit. So my card base was actually taller than my card front. And that's no problem at all, as long as you make sure that you glue it down all the way up against the edge of where your fold is of your card base. In case it's going to be wider, in this case it's taller. But then you can easily just trim that off with your trimmer. And this is my finished card. I hope you enjoyed watching this one come together. If you're still looking for some fun new Christmas stamps, check out the Possum Stamps shop. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.